said you have to evacuate. There's a lot of struggle.
He's really good at playing with people's minds. I'd walk in the house, there'd be balloons, there'd be cats floating, birds flying out the window. So I don't know if you need to call the police, Pete, or something. I just don't know.
Bowling's nice. You a good bowler?
Yeah.
Okay.
Spare me. Oh, that's a bad pun. But I'm going to strike now. I don't want this case to go in the gutter. I have run out of bowling jokes.
Plaintiff Trenton Caine is suing his ex-roommate for $2,019 for unpaid rent. Defendant James Johnson claims the plaintiff used magic and alcohol to mess with his mind. He says he owes nothing.
Please raise your right hands. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All rise. The Honorable Judge Jerry Springer now presiding. Morning, Judge.
Hey, Najee, how are you?
Doing well. Got
Good.
Case number 13 on the docket, Caine versus Johnson.
Great. All right, let's see what we have here. We have the plaintiff, Mr. Caine. You are suing the defendant, Mr. Johnson, in the amount of $2,019 for an unpaid loan agreement. Please tell me your case.
Mr. Johnson and I met through a mutual friend. The mutual friend told me that James was looking for a place to live.
Yes.
And I had an extra bedroom in my apartment that was furnished. And I met James. I told him how much rent was. We made an agreement of $850 a month. We split utilities. It was a month to month. If he ended up not paying rent on time for any reason, he could leave at the end of the month.
Do we have the written lease? It's month to month, as you said, $850. Okay, and you both signed it. Go ahead.
Everything went great. We lived together, we worked well together. He was an aspiring musician, so there's a lot of hustle and struggle. So about 6 months went by, 5-6 months, rent was on time, and then he's like, hey man, I'm waiting for a payment from one of the songs that I did. Can we extend? I'm gonna get the money to you in a couple of weeks. I said, sure. That actually ended up becoming collectively happening over and over.
Okay.
For additional months. I didn't kick him out because I knew how hard it is.
Right.
So he would end up paying the money towards the end of the month, and I used that for the next one. So he was always about a month behind.
But eventually he paid you. I'm not
Yeah,
saying he paid
eventually
you
he
on
paid me.
time.
Nope.
Eventually he paid you.
That's
okay.
correct. Then about February, March, James kind of had a hard spot, and money wasn't coming in for him. So 1 month went by, and it was coming towards the second month, and I didn't have any payment. I was like, hey man, we're cutting it really short. I can't do this any longer. He goes, oh, it's all good. You know, I promise I'll get this back to you. I said, cool, you have to evacuate, leave. He said, all right, I will. But before he left, we spoke, and we agreed to have a contract with one another.
For what he still owed you for the time he was there and had not yet paid rent.
Yes, sir. I have the contract here. We agreed that, Your Honor, he would begin paying 30 days after he left. Then we had a 6-month payment plan. If he happened to have been late on any of those payments, I did put a 10% interest on it. That's mainly to hold him accountable.
Okay.
Long story short, I was drunk when I signed that.
No. The first month then, I didn't receive a payment. I reached out to him. I said, James, is everything okay? I haven't received a payment. I didn't get word back. And then a few days later, he said, yeah, I'll get this to you as soon as I can. Well, Your Honor, it happened 3-4 months.
You're here because you want this contract enforced.
Yes, sir. We actually had the contract notarized as well.
Okay, I want to hear from you.
Well, Judge, Trenton's a good magician.
He's a magician?
Yeah, he's a magician, yeah. So he's really good at, playing with people's minds. So, and I know you have never probably lived with a magician.
Did he ever do any magic tricks for you?
Oh, I'd walk in the house, there'd be balloons floating, there'd be cats at the table eating at the same bowls that I ate out of. Dogs, the he had a dog. He had 5 animals, and my girl would come over and she'd walk out and she would say he has another dog in there, and the dog wouldn't be like you never knew the animals went after. So I don't know if you need to call the police, Pete, or something. I just don't know. And there'd be birds flying out the window.
I had a
living in
little Noah's
complete-
Ark in there,
Right.
you know?
It was really like
guy's
just an
talented,
uncomfortable
Judge.
situation.
Yeah.
After the tricks, everything
All right,
disappeared. So, but I was when I signed whatever I
How
signed.
did that happen? Explain
No,
to me
no,
the
no.
signing.
He took me out and he said, "Let's just end on good grounds."
So you
I got this
was this in the
covered.
evening?
Yeah, it was
So
early
one-
evening.
So what?
No, sir, that was in the
Trenton,
morning.
Trenton, it doesn't matter when it was. You did it.
It was
well,
in the
it may
morning.
matter. Okay, so
My mind is probably a little rocky because
Okay, so you went out with him to get drinks,
yes, before I signed whatever I signed,
and you bought some drinks, or he bought?
he bought the
I
drinks.
did. Yeah, we actually had espresso martinis.
A few of them.
Okay, a few of them.
We had two.
I don't drink that out there.
Okay,
No,
so
he doesn't-
anyway,
he doesn't
so
drink,
drinks,
sir.
and then what happened after the drinks?
I'm
The way
being
that I
sued.
remember it, we drank and, you know, kind of talked things out.
Because
That was
he's
signed.
claiming that he signed it when he was. Are you claiming you were drunk?
I was totally drunk.
We had drinks afterwards, Your Honor.
So you're claiming he
no,
wasn't drunk
no.
when
No,
he
sir.
signed it.
Trenton,
You're
stop lying.
claiming you were drunk.
I definitely was drunk in order to sign something like that. I don't owe him that.
But if you stayed in his apartment
Correct.
for those months, which you don't deny, nor do you deny that he wasn't paid for that month. That's
Well, now I'm denying that too because
you did pay the $850
Yeah,
rent
I did
in.
pay. I paid more
for
than
that month
Yeah,
for March.
I mean, added up, it should have been that because we had a sublease, and I don't know if that was legal or not. The type of sublease that he used.
I want to know what you paid. The initial contract says
$850.
you had to pay $850 a month,
$850.
and you're saying
an
for the
overpay.
month which he claims is March,
It was February and
for
March, sir.
February and prorated for March.
Right.
You paid him $850. Do you have a receipt for that $850?
No, and
do you
neither
have
does
a
he.
check? You wrote him a check for $850?
I don't owe him anything.
He didn't
No,
pay.
I'm saying, did you write him a check for? I want to know how you
I
paid.
paid in cash usually.
So someone here is lying.
Yeah,
This
definitely.
isn't an interpretation, because
Definitely.
he's saying for those months he paid you $850.
Not at all, because in February, he didn't have payment. In March, he didn't have payment, and we sat down together, and he said, "Let's go. We're gonna do it. I'll get you your money. You know."
If you said to him at any point that you'll get him the money, then you are admitting that you did owe him the money. On the other hand, this whole thing about the second contract of the repayment. So here's how I'm deciding.
May I inject,
Yes.
Your Honor? During those months where he wasn't making payments, I sent him emails and asking what was going on. I'd like to give this to you, and he would respond. He had a response. So I think that this shows that he had conscious intention of following through with the agreement that we did.
And I'm aware that I signed a contract.
But it
Yeah,
put
I'm
me,
not-
I had to pay the bill.
I am throwing out this last contract because I don't even need it, is what I'm saying.
Yes, sir.
Because without the contract, the agreement you two had based on your behavior was that for $850 a month, I'm not getting into the utilities, but the $850 a month, you originally agreed to do.
But those
So
numbers
that's
don't
what it
even
is.
add up. Those numbers
Since
don't
you
add up.
stayed there in the month of February and part of March, I'm going to throw out the contract, so I'm not putting in any interest that he's asking for.
Yeah.
But the $1,836 of back rent is due because that's what the original agreement was. So I fined for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,836.
Thank you, Your Honor. We made a verbal agreement with one another, and he needed to be upheld to it, and it was.
I definitely wasn't. I didn't owe him anything, and he knew he took advantage of me, got me drunk, and he got over on me. But no, I'm really actually disappointed today because I don't owe him anything.
Plaintiffs April and Brent Dehann are suing Brent's sister and her husband $4,228 for unpaid rent. Defendants Ryan and Janice Knapp claim the plaintiff's rental property was a dangerous fire trap that put their entire family at risk. They say they owe nothing.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All rise. The Honorable Judge Jerry Springer now presiding. Good morning, Judge.
Hey, Najee.
This is case number 23 on the docket, Mr. and Mrs. Dehann versus Mr. and Mrs. Knapp.
Okay, great. And welcome to all of you.
Thank you.
let's see what we have here. We have the plaintiffs, Mr. and Mrs. Dehann.
Correct.
Okay. And you are suing the defendants, Mr. and Ms. Knapp, in the amount of $4,228 for back rent.
Correct.
We'll start with you, and then I'll get to you, okay?
The defendants moved into our rental property on July 1st.
Yes.
Janice is Brent's sister, my husband.
Brother and sister here.
Yes.
Okay.
Within the first 6 weeks, they were already late on rent. I have text messages, screenshots, August, September, October, November, and when we would get rent, sometimes it'd be a folded up check. It would be for half the amount. They wouldn't even, tell us they're going to be late.
So they didn't pay on time.
Right.
But for how long were they living there?
They lived there for 2 years.
So for 2 years, eventually...
They're always late.
Always late, but eventually paid up until...
They'd pay a little bit here and there.
Yes.
To try to, catch up a little bit, but they were always, late. And before they even moved in, we had some reservations because of Janice's financial history. There's been a history of car repossessions, other evictions, but Ryan was kind of new to the family, and so, in talking to him, we believed he was a stand-up guy. We wanted to give him a chance. And we thought that he would kind of help her turn things around.
Here's some text messages.
Regarding what, the late payments?
Yes,
Us asking them for late rent
within
Yes.
the first
For-
6 weeks.
within the first 6 weeks.
Yeah.
If they were lots of times late with the rent, and yet they stayed there 2 years, did you ever at some point say, if you're late with the rent next month, you've got to leave?
So within the 6 months, they were a couple months behind, and they actually got caught up at the time when they got their taxes back. So at that time, they got completely caught up, but then the cycle kept continuing. Yeah, the excuses for late rent was surgeries, back, being in the emergency room with migraines, back pain, knee pain, constant things like that.
What is your take
Well,
on all
my
this?
belief, first and foremost, is you simply do not sue family. I feel that Jan is being targeted in this suit mostly because there's a financial history within the family. They've helped family extensively, and I believe this is kind of the repayment, if you
The
will.
family doesn't owe me $4,500 in rent.
Isn't it fair to say that if you're living there and the rent is due, that they're entitled to expect that the rent would be paid? It would be very annoying if month after month after month they're not getting their rent. And because it's family, it's all. If you weren't family, they may very well have said, these people out of here.
Right.
Well, there is that, but there's also, we have extensive evidence of many of the upgrades that I
Okay.
made to the place.
Tell me about it.
Some before and afters, and I paid for all of this myself.
Okay, are these upgrades,
These are upgrades of the townhome.
and were these upgrades that were approved by the landlord?
Yes.
I don't recall
Oh, this is the
that.
before and after.
Yeah, you gave me full autonomy.
I also have evidence of
So you have the
his
kitchen
repairs as
before
well.
and after. That's the bathroom.
Paint.
Believe me, I have seen pictures of the befores on cases such as this when I'm going, wow, how do they even live there? We're not talking about anything here that made the place uninhabitable.
No, but much more appealable.
More
especially-
appealing, and you're saying they approved these upgrades?
Yes.
And you're saying apparently you didn't? Did you tell them, no, we're not going to pay for that?
He took it-
He took it upon himself
To do it himself.
to add a few light fixtures,
Okay.
clean up and paint.
Okay, but I'm going to say an innocent thing here.
But this
Brother
is-
and sister, you're suing each other. What's Thanksgiving going to be like?
And
Man, and,
I-
and whose apartment are we going to have the Thanksgiving?
And I feel very bad about that. I mean, they are family.
Yeah.
And you're right, you shouldn't have to sue family. But I don't own this house. When they don't pay rent, I still have to make my mortgage payment.
still have
We're
to pay
paying
the
two
And
mortgages.
as you heard me say to
Right.
them, I'm
We
not.
also have pictures of after
Of his repairs,
of
too.
his repairs that were
that
done.
now have ruined the countertops that I'm going to have to replace.
On this issue, this isn't worth going to court over this part.
Well,
The
but
rent-
it's part of our defense is because of the upgrades. Plus, there is also faulty wiring
Okay.
in the
We
electrical
couldn't
box.
even run the microwave, the circuit breaker. We had to do the circuit breaker every time we had to
I'm
have the
not
TV
saying
or
that you
lights
didn't
on.
put some things in there. I get it.
Well, the
And
worst
I get
part,
it.
the worst part was the day we moved out.
They moved out, yeah.
What
because
happened on the day you moved out?
Because the day we moved out, it was on my birthday. We had to move
They were
out.
supposed
We
to
did
actually be out the day before.
What kind of hurt me a little bit, being family, they didn't even wish me happy birthday. I couldn't even, just those two little words made me upset. You know, they couldn't even say happy birthday. I mean, I didn't care about anything else going on. They couldn't even just say, oh, by the way, happy birthday, have a good birthday, or no. Then we also had to give away our two dogs, Mambo and Lease, that we've had for a long time that devastated our kids because where we moved couldn't take the dogs, so we had to get rid of them. Then we found family on Craigslist, so we lost, part of our family members too, on top of
Okay.
it all.
But
I mean,
here's what I do think. They are entitled to have their rent paid for. So let's talk about what agreements that I understand you agreed to modify the rental payments, et cetera. At some point, as I understand it in this complaint, you went to them and say, let's try to work something out.
Because they are family.
And because they're family, and for the back rent, instead of the $4,228, we're going to knock it down to $2,400, and we're going to let you repay us $100 a month. So they're willing to cut it in half and give you 2 years to pay it back. And I understand you even didn't pay up on that, or you fell behind on that, the $100 a month.
Correct.
You're in a bowling league?
Correct.
How much is the bowling league?
Between us, it'd be $40 a week.
And bowling's nice. You bowl well? You're a good bowler?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're spending money on that.
Plus food and drinks. I mean,
Okay,
you know.
spare me that. Oh, that's a bad pun. But I'm going to strike now. So, I don't want this case to go in the gutter. I have run out of bowling jokes.
Nice.
Here's what we're going to do. And they're entitled to the $2,200, which you agreed to. I fine for the plaintiffs in the amount of $2,200.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I'm just hoping that we can put this all behind us and be a family again.
I just want to have my sister back in my life and not be arguing and talking about money anymore. Let's just put it all behind us.
At the end, it'd be family and be all together and let it be in our past. Let it,
Exactly. Money's
Be
money,
by-
family's family.
Thanks for watching. Now please approach the bench. The way I look at it, you have two options here. Option A, watch more Judge Jerry. Option B, watch more Jerry Springer. The choice is yours. Now get out of my courtroom. You have more clips to watch. And don't forget to subscribe.